Good day everyone, my name is Brian Casson and welcome to the Casson Academy. In this session today we're going to cover conversion tracking in Google Analytics using a thank you page. So if you are currently at our site casson.coza/academy, you can view the lesson and we'll run you through how to set up thank you pages, how to define your goals on those thank you pages, how to build your thank you page, and how to make your thank you page a goal. We're also going to show you how to connect your thank you page to Google AdWords and to start marking conversions in Google AdWords. So let's get started. The first thing that you need to know is how to identify a goal or conversion on your site. Generally speaking, if there's a form of contact on your site, that would be considered a goal. So if I was to type in my name into my form here, pick a service and inquire, you'll notice that it goes to a thank you page at the end of that inquiry. No matter which page I start that process on, any internal pages, they all have inquiry forms. So generally speaking, an inquiry form is a good conversion on your page because somebody has contacted you and there's a chance that you're going to make revenue. And this is the one that we'll be covering now on how to create a thank you page. We're going to do a WordPress walkthrough and show you how to do that. So first of all, you need to go to the back end of your WordPress. If you don't have WordPress, the same sort of rules apply. I'm going to locate the pages, all pages. I'm going to create a new page. And I'm going to call that thank you. I've already got a thank you, so it's making a slug of thank you too. But generally speaking, it will be /thank you as a good indication. Now you can write anything into your thank you page. Thank you for contacting us, etc., etc. And you're going to create that thank you page. In WordPress, you simply publish and view page. Now we have our thank you page. Of course, you don't want your thank you page to be as boring as my ones are. In this option here, you can actually upsell and cross-sell. So if you have other products that you want to put into here, if you have other courses that you want to attach to your thank you page, you can also put them in here. So anytime you want to upsell or cross-sell, this is a good place to do it. Somebody's already inquired, maybe you want to get them to sign up for your newsletter or something at the same time. I'm going to go back to WordPress now. I'm going to edit the page again. One step that you mustn't forget is to no index and no follow this thank you page. You don't want the search engines to be able to find this page because that defeats the purpose of your thank you page. The only way that you should be able to get to this thank you page is after filling in a form and not through a search engine. Otherwise, your Google Analytics is going to mark a goal for somebody that didn't actually complete a form. So if you are using WordPress, you can go make sure that the Yoast plugin for SEO is installed. And then you want to go down to the advanced section where it says all search engines to show this page in search result. We're going to click no. We don't want it to track in search engines. Then we're going to go down to the part that says should search engines follow links on this page, and we're going to click no. This is called a no index and a no follow on this page. We don't want Google to find this page. We don't want Google to follow this page. Recently, Google has done an update that says that they will not ultimately use this rule of no indexing, no follow, but they will use it as a suggestion. So there's still no guarantee that Google's not going to find this page and index this page, but Google will use it as a suggestion. So I'm going to update this page now. I'm going to view it. And now you can see we have a thank you page. /thank you to, because I've already got an existing thank you. Once you created this page and everything's set up and you've got a URL, that's when you're going to head over to Google Analytics. When you get to Google Analytics, you want to locate the cog in the bottom left corner. There are 3 views. One's called Account View, Property View, and View. We're going to go to the View level and we're going to click on Goals. You're going to then create a new goal using the big red button. And you're going to give your goal a name. You can see the goal slots here. I'm currently using goal ID 7 on number 2. You can have up to 20 goal IDs per view in Google Analytics. So if you want to use more than 20 goals, you're going to have to go back and create a new view, and then you can add another 20 goals. So add new, give it a name. It's going to assign a goal slot. Now the type of goal tracking that we're going to use today is a destination URL goal. We've made our thank you page. We've got ourselves a destination to mark as a conversion. So I'm going to choose destination. I'm going to take the URL, copy it, and I'm going to paste it into the box. Now you can see there's quite a few options that you have here. One is equals to. That means that if anyone was to land on this page, this exact page and no other page, Google would mark this as a lead. You can also use begins with. So if this URL was part of the Academy as an example, if it's set here, you can say begins with Academy. And that would track only the pages that are part of the Academy. You can also choose the regular expression. This is my favorite method because it's generally the one that doesn't have issues. So this means that if this URL or slug is part of your URL, there it is there, it will mark as a conversion. Doesn't matter where it is. So you can see this one's an Academy. If this page actually existed, it would mark as a conversion. If the page that you set up was in the root, as long as it's got the thank you -to, it marks as a conversion. If I go to a web design page as an example, and I made a thank you page at the end of this page, and if this was a real page and got to a thank you page, then it would mark as a conversion. So no matter where that part is in the URL, just so long as it is in the URL. So now I'm going to say thank you to regular expression, and I'm going to proceed. The next thing that you'll notice is value. So if your goal was worth something to you or your business, you can assign a value to it. So to myself, one lead is worth 250 Rand. So as these leads come in, Google will start to build value around the type of conversions set here. If you don't have a value, you can just turn it off. The next option is a funnel. Sometimes when you're filling in forms, they have steps. Step 1 might be filling in info. And those steps all have their own URLs. Step 2 might be billing info. Step 3 might be something like a download. To use this method, you have to have a multi-step form. In other words, as you start the form, over here, the URL would be website. But then, if we go with what it says here, your next part of the form would go to info page. It would be something like that, without the double hash. Custom website info page, and that will have the next step of the form, and so on and so on. So if you've got steps in your form, you can fill them in. What you don't want to do is actually add your thank you as one of your steps. It's already triggered as the final step, so you don't need to include thank you on that side. And of course, if you don't want to use funnels, you can turn them off. When you use funnels, it'll appear in your Google Analytics as a drop-off. In other words, people got to step 1, 2, 3, and it'll tell you how many people dropped off at which step. You can verify your goals if you need to. So if you want to verify that this thank you page works, you can do that. However, you can't do that if you've just created the page today. So I've only just made the thank you page, thank you to. So I can't verify today because Google takes 24 hours or so to mark conversions in analytics. So if I try to verify now, it's going to say 0% because no goals have been running on this new URL. If you have an established URL, in other words, something that's been around a while and you've been tracking for a while, you can push verify and it'll give you a percentage or a conversion rate percentage under this option. So I'm going to proceed now to save this. Now I've got my new Analytics Academy thank you page tracking running on the site. So that's all you do on this side, in the Google Analytics side, but now we need to make sure that we test what we've installed. The easiest way to do that is to go to real time, the little hourglass, watch face. We're going to go down to conversions. We're going to see our new conversion there. This is my current one on this side. And this one here is the new one. So I'm going to locate the new one. And I'm going to watch this 0 right here. And I'm going to hope that when I refresh the page, this is going to trigger a session. So I'm going to go back to my thank you page and I'm going to refresh it. Wait for it to load. Once it is loaded, I'll go back to Google Analytics and I wait for that to come through. You would also notice that this turned green at the bottom. That just means that that session did not bounce. If it turns red, it means the session bounced. So there is our goal. You can see it's tracking at the moment, and we have a 1 which has come through on our Academy thank you page. So that's a good indication that this tracking is now up and running. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to now jump over to Google AdWords, and I need to pull that conversion into my AdWords. So if somebody was to go to Google and they click on an ad, they come through, they fill in a form, they get to the thank you page, I want it to attribute to Google AdWords. So in my AdWords tracking, I need to make sure that there is a conversion set up. So in Google AdWords, when you're on the front page, you're going to locate the Tools and Settings option. You're going to locate Conversions. You're going to see the current conversions that are in here. You can get rid of old conversions if you want to, and they will go away. Okay, and you can use the big blue button to add new conversions. You'll notice that it doesn't come in automatically. Even though we created it in Google Analytics Analytics Academy thank you. We don't see it here in AdWords. So we're going to look for the blue button. We're going to click import. And we know that it came from Google Analytics. So we're going to choose Google Analytics. And we're going to continue. From there, we're going to select our new option, Analytics Academy thank you. There we go. We've got a brand new option in there. The one that it should match the one in your Analytics. Analytics Academy thank you. Analytics Academy thank you. And we're just going to import it and push done. Okay. So now our new conversion has come through to Google AdWords. If it doesn't show up in the list on import, it means that your analytics is not connected to your AdWords in the same account. You can see the account ID up here in the corner, and you can see that I have analytics running here, and I've got conversions running here. They're all in the same count. AdWords, analytics, AdWords, analytics. If that's all set up correctly, and you connect it through the account linked accounts option, then you'll see conversions come through instantly. So now I'm going to optimize this conversion. I'm going to go into it, and you're going to notice something called an attribution model at the bottom. By default, Google uses a last click attribution model. I will have a full video on attribution models, but basically the easiest way to understand it is that who was involved in the process of that conversion. Was it Google AdWords paid? Was it Google organic? Was it Facebook? Who was involved in the conversion? So I want to make sure that everyone gets the same strength when marking a conversion. So I'm going to set it to linear. This basically means that if AdWords had anything to do with any part of the process, mark it as a lead, not just a last click. So last click basically means I go to Google, I type in something like red shoes. Because I'm doing a search, if I was to click on any ads, of course there's no ads now, but if I was to click on an ad from search, that would attribute as organic because I did a search. If I came through an ad, that would attribute as an ad or paid media. So we want to make sure that everyone gets the same strength on that option. Then I also want to check my conversion window. How long do I want people to be on the list before I mark them as a conversion? So if they come to my website and 15 days later they convert, I still want to mark it. If they come to my website and 90 days later they convert, I still want to give that credit to Google AdWords. So I'm going to leave the window open for an extended duration of 90 days. And then I'm going to choose done and back. Now my form is on a linear model. It's in there, everything's running. Google's going to start marking conversions over here. You'll notice there's also something called repeat rate. This is quite important. If your repeat rate is 1.0 when it comes through, your your analytics is probably tracking correctly. There's no repeats, there's no double firing or anything like that. However, if the repeat rate is 1.6 or 1.9, that means that you're losing about 60 to 90% of double tracking. So it's going to double track you about 60 to 90% of the time. If you have 0 point something, it means it's not tracking all of the leads. So you want to try and make sure that your repeat rate is 1.0. Now it's not foolproof. Obviously, if you have items that can be added to a basket multiple times, then you'll have multiple repeats. But if you only have a thank you page and somebody generally only contacts you once, your repeat rate should be 1.0. Okay, I'm going to jump over to the sessions now. That basically covers the thank you page, but I'm going to start the course and I'm going to go through some frequently asked questions around conversions in analytics. So here you can see what happens if analytics is not tracking your goals. Well, the first thing that you want to do is you want to go to your goals again. And you want to check the URL, because sometimes you could have spelled it wrong. So just double check that the URL inside here, the snippet, the small slug piece of URL, matches your thank you page exactly. So I generally, best practice, use copy paste instead of typing it in. I paste it and then I remove the domain name and the HTTPS. And that's how I would mark the conversion. So step 1, make sure the URL is correct. Step 2, make sure that you have Google Analytics tracking code actually running on your site. If you don't have Google Analytics tracking code and it's not working on the site, then you can't expect your conversions or goals to be working. I use something called Tag Assistant. It's a Google Chrome extension. You can find it in the Chrome store. When you get to a page, you just enable that page, and then you refresh your page. Give it a second to load. And you can see that our Google Analytics code is tracking because it's firing at the top here. So yes, Analytics is working on this site. Next thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that your match type is correct. So if you have equals to and you're getting no conversions, it's probably the wrong option. Just switch to regular expression, see if the conversions tag again, and then things might run okay. Sometimes you just get the wrong match type. The begins with is actually at the end, the equals to is not exact, and so on and so on. So the best option is to choose regular expression, troubleshoot from there. If regular expression works, then you can try the harder methods like equal to or begins with. Make sure that you don't have any rewrites or filters on your URLs. So if, for example, in Google Analytics, if you have a filter running that excludes certain pages, that could be stopping your tracking. Or if you have a redirect, so when somebody gets to this thank you page, they're then redirected to the home page. So it goes automatically back to the home page. If that process happens too fast and Google can't trigger the Google Analytics code, then that can cause issues in your tracking and doesn't give it enough time to actually track the lead or the conversion. Okay, the last one is this one down here. Can I use a destination to track PDFs? No, you can't. A PDF is technically not a page. So you can't use destination goal tracking to track a PDF. You can use event goal tracking or more advanced methods to track that PDF on the button, of the click of the button. But because the PDF is stored almost like an image or a document, it doesn't actually trigger the analytics code on that page. Therefore, the PDF cannot be tracked. So just make sure that if you want to do PDF tracking, you do it as an event on the click of the button or the server load. Okay, so that's it for our Q&As. After you've done the Q&As, you can complete the test, and then you will be able to complete this course. So thank you for watching, everyone. Again, my name is Brian Casson. Please see the details in the URL below the video to get you back to the course information, where we have documentation, Google support, and basically everything you need to know about the course that we've just mentioned. And that's it for our session today. Thank you.